10:07, 7 minutes past 10. Hour number 2 of Bruce and Dan. I'm Jake Hartford.
And I'm John Cass, and we're had a great hour, and now we're going on number 2.
They have a not-so-great hour.
No, it's going to be good because who doesn't want the federal government to bring a bunch of terrorists to the beautiful prairie land of Illinois?
They will not bring terrorists.
Is that what they say?
They will not do that. They will not do that. We have $165 million that is going to be used to pay not tax bills, but bills that the state owes. They owe about $80 billion. Is that it? $80 billion?
At least. What we're talking about is the Thompson prison is now, I guess, what? The federal government bought it from the state. It was closed. Mm-hmm. It wasn't even used. And now we get the state gets $165 million, and unfunded pension liabilities is at least $85 billion. So it's like, here's a couple bucks. Here's like
the governor is in his office as we speak. He has the big pile of bills on his desk. You can't even see his desk. There's so many bills there.
They're all in 20s.
And he's, no. The bills that are owed.
Oh, I see. Those bills.
Those bills. And he is deciding who's getting their money today. Pay this one. Don't pay that one.
Out of that 165.
Out of the $165 million.
Why not just give it to the cut? Somebody said divide it by the number of people in the state. Give us each, it turns out to what, $16.32? Give us the money.
Who knows better what to do with the money than the governor? And that's to pay the bills.
I want that $16. What can you do with $16? I could get a burger,
Depending where you eat.
Maybe buy a ShamWow.
But anyway, yesterday they had the big announcement, and there was some controversy because they didn't want the Gitmo prisoners showing up in Illinois.
Right.
And everything that comes with it, which includes, when they have visitors, they have to be careful, checking them out and all that stuff. So yesterday at the announcement, Pat Quinn, the governor, was there, and also our senior senator of Illinois, Dick Durbin. And here's what he had to say.
I didn't have to explain to President Obama where the Thompson prison was. He knew all about it. He campaigned around here, and he knew how important jobs are to our state and this region. So it was an easy sell in that regard.
But he also guaranteed that they would never put Gitmo prisoners there because it was the law.
Really? Yeah, I think he said that it's the law.
If you
were
listening to Rowan Roper yesterday, you would have heard
right.
that.
And laws are always followed, and no one bends them. And government, what are they going to do? The new prisoners, not the Gitmo terrorists, but any new terrorists we get, they're going to be sent to Thompson.
If they're just going to put regular federal prisoners there, I don't care. It's good. Then you've got 1,100 jobs.
Right.
But if they sneak the Gitmo guys in there, and they can because that's up to the Attorney General. And even though there is a law that says you can't, we know how things are done with the law.
It's funny when your guy is the president, you say one thing. When when the president is not of your party, you say another. Senator Durbin sounded very realistic and normal and possessed, but I wonder what he sounded like a few years ago when he was screaming about Gitmo. Do you remember that? Yeah. So I guess we'll find it soon.
Yeah, we'll find that soon at some point. In speaking about breaking the law, you guys know what the WARN Act is? The WARN Act? You
cannot bring young ladies across state lines.
No, that's a whole different one. The WARN Act is, and it's in the news, and it's being, way in the background because of everything else that's going on. It's a federal law that was put in effect on behalf of the unions that says if there's a contractor is going to be laying off workers, they need 90-day notice.
Correct.
So that they can plan their life. And this was put in again by law for the unions.
And Democrats put it through.
Correct. Well, there's going to be some layoffs coming. And in
the military
procurement area.
And contractors.
So basically, these warnings should be going out within the next couple of weeks, which unfortunately is right before the election, which is not good if you're the incumbent. So the way the news reports report it, the companies are being asked not to send the notices out, in effect violate the WARN Act, and if any of these union people are upset and they get laid off with less than 90 days notice and they sue, the government will pay for the attorneys of the companies.
You know who should pay? The Obama campaign committee should pay, because this is about hushing things up till after the election. They don't want workers in contested states to get their layoff notices before the election. So they're basically violating the law in order to protect the politics, and guess who pays for it? Jake and John and all you guys.
And here's the question: will an individual union member have money to sue these companies? Probably not. But if they do, you and I, the taxpayers, will pay for the attorneys to defend it, and that's the law. And that's the same kind of law, like Dick Durbin said yesterday. No, you're not going to have any Gitmo people there because it's the law. Bill in Chicago. Hey, Bill, you're on 89 WLS.
Hey, how you doing this morning? And I think John just reiterated what I was about to say was even though they're not going to bring any new prisoners from Gitmo here, it doesn't mean they're not going to bring new terrorists they pick up to the location from other parts of the world.
Well, Bill, we're letting some go. I think we let one go out of Gitmo, and he killed. He was involved in that thing in Libya that killed that ambassador. So
right. There's been a handful of people we let go that have been re-involved in the terrorist incidents. So I don't know. It always cracks me up that they're allowed to say whatever they want. There's never any recourse, because even if they bring Gitmo prisoners here, I mean, we're beyond the point that any reporter will go back to Durban and ask them, you lied. I mean, no one will go up to these politicians.
Excuse me?
Anything.
Who are you talking to? What are you talking about?
John, your column tells the truth, but you got to admit.
I think that there are many reporters, radio reporters, and I can guarantee you that radio broadcast reporters, TV reporters, they will all be on that case. And if they do bring terrorists here, they will be on Durban and running that tape once again.
I sure hope so.
Because there's nothing like hearing Durban on tape.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you.
And Congress was stopping the purchase of the prison by the federal government, but they did a workaround, just like they have the workaround with all the czars. They worked around that. You can have your laws, czars, and then you have your workarounds. This was a workaround.
It's like a relaxing work rule.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah, we'll work around this.
Just move that scaffolding over here.
It's 10:15. John Cass, Jake Hartford in for Bruce and Dan, who are in for Don and Roma right here in 89 WS. Now time for WS Traffic.
One chairman said no. We asked him why. He told us. He said they're going to put Guantanamo detainees there. We showed him where the law specifically prohibits putting Guantanamo detainees in this prison.
The law specifically prohibits.
The law is the law is the law.
Until
this is Illinois.
Until they put one in and they say, okay, sue me.
No, what they'll say is unavoidable circumstances, and the executive order allowed us to.
We were taking
for the good of the country.
Yeah, we were taking him to Idaho, and then the bus broke down, and this was the nearest prison we can put him in, and we're going to just put him here temporarily for 20 years.
What's so? I've been against it. I've written about it critically, but really now let's think about it. What's so bad about having a bunch of terrorists and their families coming out to Western Illinois? Is there anything good about it? I'm just thinking.
They'll spend some money.
You can have various restaurants catering to them. I don't know.
Oh, by the way, another law is having...
Maybe carpets. There'll be a lot of Illinois carpet merchants, because one thing that's interesting about the terrorists in Guantanamo, they were given all, carpets that they wanted for prayer, which is important, but also nice vegetables, chicken breast sandwiches, and Fruit Loops. Did you know this? They had their choice between Fruit Loops and Cocoa Krispies every morning. And I think if I was a terrorist, that's what I would. Today's a Fruit Loop day, or, Cocoa Krispie.
Vic in Genoa. Good morning, Vic.
Good morning. Listen, I'd like to add a little commentary about this prison in Thompson, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when they were first going to. Federal government was first going to buy this thing, and they were going to put the Gitmo detainees in there. It just struck me odd, first of all, that we just seem to have a brand new prison sitting around in a town here in Illinois. I mean, unused. We got crowded conditions all over the country, but we've got a brand new state-of-the-art prison sitting out there, which, by the way, at the time they said cost us, Illinois taxpayers, $350 million to build.
I'm not sure of that. I've heard a lower number.
Well, that was in the paper. That's what I read in the paper. You can check on it, but I'll tell you what. I'm sure that the government still wound up getting a bargain basement deal on this thing, and we took it in the shorts again.
See, because I remember Gitmo costing $350 million. Because at the time they were going to close Gitmo, it was like, gee, we just spent all this money on Gitmo, modern facility, and now we're just going to dump it.
Well, that may be, but I distinctly remember them saying it cost us $350 million to build that prison out there. And by the way, why is it that we had some brand new prison, just happened to have it stashed in some little town ready to go?
It had to be somewhere.
Using that money to pay down other, bills in the state.
Was that when George Ryan was thinking he was going to run for re-election instead of sitting in prison himself?
Yeah, that beats me. I don't know. All I know is this is typical Illinois corruption. All of a sudden, bingo, we got a brand new prison. Hey, how about that? Well, who built that? Well, we did.
Well, who knew we'd run out of prisoners?
Plus, what about the terrorists?
Who knew crime would go down? Who knew that?
You want them to be in Cuba, where it's humid, or do you want Illinois, where you get this change of seasons? You look out.
Jim on the north side. Good morning, Jim.
Hey, guys. I want to remind you of something. We were told once, too, that they would never pull us over for not wearing a seatbelt.
Yeah.
No, this just for health. It's for safety. We'll never pull you over.
Well, now they do pull you over.
Yeah, I mean, they guaranteed us when we complained about it. No, we'll never do it. Look.
Thanks, Jim. Hey, speaking of safety,
put your seatbelt on, Jim.
You know they have those overhead signs on the expressways and the major roads
with the cameras
that tell you. No, the big ones that the message boards that tell you how many people have died because they update it every day. Mm-hmm. It's been at 728 since Friday.
Nobody has died?
Nope, since Friday in traffic accidents.
Get the sign guy.
No.
Get the sign guy.
Isn't that good?
Going.
That shows we're improvement. 728 since Friday.
It sounds to me like we've had fatalities. I don't know if Christina Filiaggi could fill us in.
Well, if we had Christina Filiaggi. That's 10:20. Back after this on 89 WLS.
That's a sack of Durbin.
89 WLS. 89 WLS is everywhere you are. Connect with the WLS AM app on your smartphone. Listen live online and catch up on Newsmaker podcasts at WLSAM.com.
Coming up to 10:29. Bruce and Dan show. Jake and John in for them. Two things. Number one of the callers said that the signs now are reflecting 735 people dead.
The death signs.
Which means we went Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 5 days without anybody dying in traffic accidents in Illinois. And since you and I have been on the show this morning, on the radio, 7 people have died. That's not good. That's not good for our image.
Is it possible that state employees don't work hard over the weekend?
No, that's impossible.
Or on Friday?
No. Right. The other thing is the Thompson Correctional Center was originally $140 million when it was built. It sat empty basically for 6 years. They used a portion of the minimum part with 200 beds for 3 years, and then they closed it in 2010. So it's a lightly used building. And the total cost of the state in this was, it ended up with being about $170 million. So we either kind of broke even or lost a few million on the deal. But here's the interesting part. The controversy when they were going to build this, they didn't want to build it because there were environmental concerns. And they went ahead and built it anyway.
The little swallows? Or what were they?
The Mississippi River is close by.
Ah, so you didn't want prisoners near the Mississippi because it's so clean.
I have no idea, but they said environmental concerns.